On a quiet night in Logan, Ohio, as the town settled into routine, the unthinkable happened. Summer Inman, a young mother of 3, stepped out of the bank where she worked, expecting nothing more than to toss the trash and meet her boyfriend. But within minutes, her belongings lay scattered on the ground: a phone, keys, a still-playing music player. Witnesses nearby saw her taken, 2 masked figures pulling her into a car, her desperate screams echoing into the night, only to be stifled by a cloud of pepper spray. What appeared at first to be a routine abduction would unravel into a web of betrayal, a family's chilling secrets, and an unimaginable plan gone terribly wrong. And as the investigation unfolded, each shocking revelation brought new questions, each twist darker than the last. To those around them, the Inman family seemed like a model of unity and devotion. Their lives were centered around faith, and each Sunday, they were a familiar sight at church. Yet, beyond the public facade, hidden dynamics played out within their close family circle. The story of William and Sandra Inman began in 1983 at church. William, then 18, met 16-year-old Sandra. With the blessing of their families, the young couple married and settled in Logan, a quiet community in Ohio. Bill, as he was commonly known, was a man of deep religious faith, balancing his construction job with playing music at the evangelical church near Nelsonville, Ohio. Sandra managed their household, and in 1984 they welcomed their son, William Jr., whom they affectionately called Will. Will grew up, and in 2001, at 17, he met Summer Cook, a 15-year-old girl also at church, a meeting that mirrored his parents' initial encounter. After 3 years of friendship, they married when Summer turned 18 in 2004 and moved in with Will's parents in Logan, Ohio. By 2004, Bill, now 39, had ambitions to become a pastor. He converted his garage into a small gathering space, which eventually attracted neighbors and friends seeking solace and prayer. His unconventional ministry led to skepticism, but his gatherings continued to grow. In 2005, Will and Summer celebrated the arrival of their first child, Alex, though the family faced financial pressures, partly due to Bill's ministry, which wasn't bringing in sufficient income. They decided to move out of Ohio in search of better opportunities. In 2006, the Inmans relocated to Florida, where Bill and Will found work in hotel construction, and the family adapted to their new life. 2 years later, they returned to Ohio, though they had lost their original home in Logan and had to settle in a rental in Vinton's rural areas. The family continued to grow, with the births of Kelly in 2008 and Alana in 2010. As young parents, Will and Summer sometimes took weekend breaks, while Bill and Sandra enjoyed spending time with their grandchildren. That same year, Bill officially became a pastor, establishing the Faith Church and launching Ranch of Mercy, a charitable project aimed at helping those in need. With aspirations to build a home for orphans and widows, Bill introduced a fundraising lottery, offering a grand prize of either a house or $200,000, along with other rewards. Despite high hopes, no shelter was built, and the lottery, set for September 2010, never took place. In June 2010, Summer informed Will of her desire to separate. In a diary entry, she expressed her feelings of exhaustion, yearning for happiness, and frustration with her life's direction. She feared how Will might react, but knew she couldn't continue in her current situation. Following her decision, Summer moved out, taking her children to her parents' home and allowing them to maintain contact with Will and his family. By August, she started a relationship with Adam Peters and found a cleaning job at a bank in Logan. The scheduled raffle for Ranch of Mercy arrived in September, but without any prize house built, and participants saw no refunds or explanations. Meanwhile, financial challenges continued, with the Inmans facing eviction for overdue rent by December. When Summer and Adam attempted to collect her remaining belongings, Will and his family denied them entry, resulting in a confrontation that led Summer to involve the police and file a complaint against Will. Summer described the change in Will's behavior after their marriage. According to her, he became increasingly controlling, restricting her activities, and even limiting her access to personal items like her phone and keys. She disclosed his desire for a large family and his interest in polygamy, which led him to seek connections online. She also shared that her cats had mysteriously vanished, with Will claiming they had run off, a statement he reportedly made with indifference. Will defended his actions, citing his suspicions about her fidelity as a reason for taking her phone and keys. As for the cats, he said he had taken them to a shelter due to their wild behavior. As a result of the escalating tensions between them, Will received a restraining order, barring him from any contact with Summer and placing him under probation. This restriction fueled a bitter custody dispute, with both sides fighting for the well-being of the children. The Inman family filed a report against Adam Peters, whom they perceived as a potential danger to Alex, Kelly, and Alana. However, events soon took a tragic turn for Summer. On March 22, 2011, 25-year-old Summer Inman finished her shift at the bank late that night. She texted Adam to meet up after work, but she never appeared. Concerned, Adam arrived at the bank by 11:30 p.m. and while searching for her, stumbled upon her scattered belongings, her phone, keys, and a music player still playing with her headphones attached. He found her jacket nearby in the grass. Alarmed, Adam immediately contacted Summer's parents, urging them to notify the police. Initially, Summer's parents called the bank, thinking she might still be inside. When no one there had seen her, they reached out to the Logan police, emphasizing how uncharacteristic it was for her to be late without notice. Officers responded to the scene, gathering statements from witnesses who had been there that night. Two women jogging near the bank recalled seeing Summer around 11 p.m. as she took out the trash. Suddenly, a white car pulled up, driven by a blonde woman, while two masked individuals emerged, seizing Summer and forcing her into the back seat. Despite her attempts to escape and her screams, a nearby bystander's effort to help was thwarted when the driver sprayed him with pepper spray. The car sped off, leaving only the joggers to recount the scene. They rushed to the police to report what they had witnessed, but their account was initially met with doubt by law enforcement, who found the story unusually detailed. The Logan police officially declared Summer Inman missing that same night. Her story quickly spread through local media, and soon, hundreds of Logan residents joined the search, determined to find her. However, as days passed, hope of finding Summer alive began to fade. Her parents held on to their last bits of hope, even as the community's efforts intensified. A Facebook photo Summer had shared just before her disappearance portrayed her with Adam and her children, appearing happy. Unbeknownst to many, Will Inman, still connected to Adam on Facebook, had seen the post. Strangely, Will remained connected online with his estranged wife's new partner, a man who had been introduced to the family in early 2010 when the Inmans hired him for household tasks. This was how Adam and Summer had met and eventually fallen for one another. Summer confided in her diary about her emotional conflict, feeling as though she had betrayed her faith but unable to ignore her feelings for Adam. 5 days before her disappearance, the court proceedings for the divorce continued as Will contested the proposed spousal support. He requested a reduction to just $50 a month, given his modest annual income. The Inman family had sought full custody of the children but had been denied, and losing regular contact with their grandchildren devastated Bill and Sandra, who reportedly looked worn and unwell afterward, visibly affected by the loss. During the investigation into Summer's abduction, law enforcement tracked down the Inman family at Bill's mother's house in Jackson County, Ohio. When questioned, Bill, Sandra, and Will claimed they had no involvement in her disappearance. They asserted that, on the night in question, they were on their way to Cleveland to view a property. However, their car broke down after 3 hours, forcing them to wait for repairs and eventually return to Logan the next morning. They insisted that any disputes with Summer had been minor and infrequent, but expressed that the presence of Adam Peters in their lives had introduced strain and was ultimately the reason for the fracture in their once close-knit family. When law enforcement inspected the Inman family's vehicle, they seized a GPS unit that provided crucial insights. The data revealed that on March 22nd, the night of Summer's abduction, the vehicle was in Logan. The GPS had been deactivated around 5:30 p.m. and only reactivated the following morning, again in Logan, contradicting the family's statement about a trip to Cleveland. Cell phone records further confirmed that Bill, Sandra, and Will were all in Logan on March 22nd and 23. Additionally, surveillance footage showed the Inmans cleaning the car's interior at a car wash on the morning of March 23rd with all three present, but Summer nowhere to be seen. The next stop was a Cleveland auto shop where Bill had nearly new tires swapped out for used ones, explaining that he simply didn't like the current set. The vehicle also appeared to have undergone some modifications. These peculiar actions raised investigators' suspicions, leading to the arrests of Bill, Sandra, and Will Inman, who were subsequently brought in for questioning. Before the arrests, Bill reassured his elderly mother that they were innocent, attributing their ordeal to a test from the devil. Despite hours of questioning, the family members each claimed ignorance of Summer's whereabouts. However, the prospect of a potential death sentence eventually broke Sandra's silence. She confessed that they were responsible for abducting Summer on March 22nd, with Bill and Will donning masks. According to Sandra, their intention was simply to frighten Summer, hoping to secure more access to the grandchildren. Yet, things went tragically wrong. Sandra recounted how, after forcing Summer into the car, Will bound her hands, feet, and neck with plastic ties to prevent her escape. But as she struggled, she began to lose consciousness. Will, realizing the severity of the situation, panicked, frantically searching for a knife to free her. "Mom, where's the knife? I can't find it," he reportedly shouted. Despite their desperate attempts, Summer stopped breathing, succumbing to the restraints. Sandra maintained that they never intended for Summer's death. Their goal was to resolve the custody conflict, but the situation spiraled out of control. On March 29th, a week after Summer's disappearance, Sandra revealed the location of her body. Authorities found her remains in a septic tank at Faith Church near Nelsonville, where Bill had helped with construction years prior and where the couple had been married. Police removed a concrete slab to open the tank, immediately seeing Summer's legs. She had been thrown headfirst into the well, still in her work uniform with a shirt bearing the phrase, "I don't have anger issues, I have issues with idiots." Forensic analysis confirmed strangulation as the cause of death, with no additional injuries aside from the marks left by her restraints. Sandra admitted her initial plan was to dispose of the body in a river, but decided the well near the church would better hide the evidence. She expressed deep shame and regret over her actions and the tragic outcome. During the trial, Bill and Will remained silent, showing no acknowledgement of guilt or remorse and avoiding eye contact with Summer's parents. Only Sandra accepted responsibility, stating that the scheme to intimidate Summer was her idea. Tearfully, she addressed Summer's parents, asking for forgiveness and saying she had loved Summer like her own daughter. Her voice, shaking with emotion, conveyed her remorse, as she expressed that if she could, she would undo everything. In 2012, the verdict came down. Bill and Will Inman were sentenced to life imprisonment without parole, while Sandra received a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 15 years. Yet, those close to the family doubted Sandra was the true mastermind. Friends and church members often noted that Bill had always been the dominant figure, and Will was regarded as spoiled and overindulged by his parents. Many speculated that Sandra's confession was a calculated attempt to shield her husband and son from harsher penalties. Today, Summer's children, Alex, Kelly, and Alana, are being raised by her family. Explaining the absence of their parents and grandparents to the children was a challenging and heart-wrenching process as they gradually learned the truth about their family's tragic history. Thanks for tuning in to Unreal True Crime. If you're intrigued by mysteries from around the world, check out our new channel, Latin Crimes, where we dive into the gripping true crime stories of Latin America. Don't miss out. Subscribe now for more thrilling investigations.